So as you know, you're welcome anytime to pose whatever question you want to pose, to share whatever you feel like sharing. You may hear some noise in the background because Tara is setting up for a retreat, one-day retreat we're having this weekend on Saturday and part of Sunday. Yeah.
Magdi?
Hello, Zoe.
Hi. So thanks so much for answering that question about solipsism. And so I just wanted to check my understanding. What came to me was, so someone who has this solipsistic way of thinking, they're like mistakenly claiming possession, in a sense, of my mind. It's sort of like the ego is still active and saying that my mind, I'm in possession of this mind or something. Does that make sense? Like there's still an ego active.
Well, it's a model that says that only my mind is real. What reality is just my mind, this particular mind. So there is nothing that is real outside of my mind. So you don't exist. You only exist when you appear in my mind. Outside of that, you don't exist. Chicago doesn't exist outside of whenever I think of it or whenever I perceive it, then it's existing. It gives no, the only reality is just what is appearing in my mind. That's a solipsist model. Of course, it's the core confusion in solipsism is between mind and consciousness. Well, two things. It's true that nothing exists outside of consciousness, meaning everything that we experience as consciousness, via consciousness. The reality of everything we experience is not external to consciousness. It's consciousness that is appearing as that. So when you say that, oh, the reality of everything that appears is my personal mind, you are giving zero credence, zero validity to any other mind outside of your own. Obviously, there are infinite minds besides your own. And Chicago exists outside of your mind and is validated by so many millions of people. But it's true that Chicago does not exist outside of consciousness. So, but solipsism is overlooks the reality of consciousness and gives the reality to my particular mind, period. Now, consciousness, although nothing exists outside of consciousness, nothing is outside of consciousness. Consciousness is not personal. It doesn't belong to you or to me or to anybody else. It does not belong more to somebody as opposed to somebody else. It has no personal ownership. Its qualities are freedom from the impression of time, meaning it's not in the realm of beginning and ending. So it's eternal, and it's from and it's free from the impression of space, meaning it is not finite, it is infinite. So if you want to replace in the solipsist model the concept that nothing exists outside of mind with nothing exists outside of consciousness, then you are moving in the right direction. But then you have to also remove the mind, the personal aspect out of the model. So consciousness is not my consciousness. One could say that the personal impression, which is the me impression, arises in and as consciousness, but consciousness does not arise in the personal model. Of course, talking about the reality of consciousness, because we could have a concept of consciousness, and then consciousness would arise for us as an image, as a concept, as an idea, as a model. But when we're talking about the reality of consciousness, then we are no longer talking about a model or about a representation of consciousness. We're talking about the essential nature of experience.
Yeah, that really clarifies it. You know, that whole thing was what came up for me when I was listening to that solipsism still has this element of this personal ownership or something, or, you know, belief in this my thing. Okay.
It's basically saying only my mind is real. So yes, definitely there is this personal ownership of the mind, but it also completely negates and obliterates anything else.
Wow. Okay.
Only reality from the solipsist point of view is what I'm experiencing, and that's it. What is real is just what I'm experiencing as mind, not as consciousness. Because as consciousness, then everything that is experienced as consciousness. And thus, it does not exclude, it does not have in it the possessive, that is limited, it's limitless.
Mm.
So it's like in deep sleep, there are no limits. There are no mind limits, no physical limits, no sensory limits, no. It's the open space of awareness, of beingness that has nothing finite to it. And nothing that arises in it to displace it. And in knowing oneself, in self-knowingness, in the reality of our experience, nothing displaces consciousness, like in deep sleep. Because the mind has no longer a veridity, a reality outside of consciousness. So everything that you experience is consciousness experiencing itself. But consciousness is not experiencing itself objectively, because there is nothing objective about consciousness. The objective element in consciousness arises when there is a subject and an object. When there is still some sense of self-boundary or self-definition, or personal self-definition, or self-limitation, then there is a subject and an object relationship. And the limitlessness of consciousness is sort of displaced by the object. There is a contraction of consciousness into a subject and an object. And of course, what comes with that is the concern about ending, the fear of death, the concern about the future, and the desire to return to the self, to return to the wholeness, to return to truth, to reality. And this desire to return to the source gets misplaced when thought presents a direction to follow or to seek. A better job, a better position, a better relationship, better health, whatever. But thought presents an external objective. And the desire for wholeness, for happiness, for peace, then is hijacked by thought. And then we are seeking the peace that is within, we are seeking it outside in situations or in relationships, in objects. And at some point, that gets redirected back to the source. And the seeking then becomes a seeking for the self, for truth. And even that gets objectified. But in time, it becomes clearer and clearer that that which is seeking is that which is sought. That which you are looking for is that which you are. And that is not an object.
Magdi, yes, I've been noticing, and maybe you can speak some more about this, just, you know, the thing that sort of ignited this fire inside of me was learning self-inquiry, but that is seeming to slow down. It's like I'm so clear that what I am is this awareness or whatever, you know, it's like that has become more clear. So it's almost like I fade in and out of you know, like some trigger, you know, it comes up, but then it's almost like it tries to become real, but then it can't, you know, but you know, I guess I never, when I learned self-inquiry, this who am I, you know, I thought, oh, I will always have to keep doing that, but it's not, I'm seeing that kind of slows down.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's the belief and feeling that you are a superimposition, that you are thoughts and memories and feelings and stories, that you sort of see through that. Over time, it becomes more and more clear to you that you are not this, you are not that. And the tendency to keep thinking of yourself as somebody in time and space slowly erodes and becomes less and less strong in your life. And you find that there is less and less self-definition. You are less and less defined objectively, defined via thoughts or defined via experiences, defined via feelings. You find that you are less and less defined via anything that is arising. And so it's like the surface of the water, of the ocean, becomes calmer and calmer, and you start to get more and more a sense of the ocean, which the waves always were not apart from the ocean. They were always the ocean. But the impression that I am not the ocean, I am the wave, quiets down, and as it quiets down, you start to get the sense of the peace within, which is not a product of any experience, not the result of any discovery or the result of any elements coming together and gelling together, and boom, the peace of being is always there. It's like the water is always there in the ocean or in the wave, you see. It's always there. And your interests, it may require a little help, initially from you. Your interest in pursuing external objects for your happiness, or external experiences or sensations or pleasures for your happiness, that becomes less and less prevalent and interesting for you. It will arise less and less. And you will find that the reality of awareness, the transparency of awareness, the transparency of being, comes more to the foreground. And of course, the world is still taking care of itself, the body, activities, whatever is needed is. But it's there is less and less of a concern, you see. And in terms of doing the vipassana, the meditations, like all tools, they are very helpful and useful for a certain function. Like when you are hanging a picture, you take the hammer and the nail and you hammer it slightly in the wall to hang the picture, but then you don't need the hammer any longer. It serves its function, and so the meditation, the contemplation reveals that the I, when we refer to I, we're referring to this transparency, this presence that has no name. It has no age or gender, but is the undeniable reality of our experience, you see. And one could say that then meditation is meditating itself, Consciousness is grooving within itself. And we find ourselves sinking deeper and deeper into the depth of it, the peace of it. We don't know, the not knowing, and the no need to know. It's a not knowing that is free from the need to know. And all is well in and as this not knowing that does not need to know.
There was one more thing. I've been reviewing some math concepts for my job, and I was just thinking about the conditioning that we undergo. Like as young children, a point is like this completely imaginary thing, concept. I just was reading these words about the definition of a point in space. It's an imaginary thing. And yet it's like we're conditioned to believe that it exists and that we can measure between it. I don't know. It just kind of blew my mind to see it from this whole different perspective, the conditioning that goes on.
Yes.
Thank you, Magdi.
Yes. Eric, Eric, you have something wanted to add something about solipsism. So please, yeah.
Yeah, I was just contemplating that there's. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, I can. Yes.
There's yeah, I'd want to offer this. Maybe it helps clarify it a little. It seems to me there's an inherent contradiction with the position of solipsism, and that like if you're having a dialogue like we are now, if it's your own mind, why are we talking? It's just,
yes.
There's an implicit assumption that there are other minds, so it's not entire. It's kind of disingenuous. It's not a completely honest position.
Yes.
There's, even in talking about solipsism,
yes.
Who are we talking with?
Right. So through solipsis would be talking to nobody.
Yeah, like in a dream, if you totally realize it's a dream, it kind of gives up the whole illusion. It's like, okay,
right. Yes.
What are we doing here? Let's just wake up.
As soon as the solipsist open his or her mouth, it's already contradiction. Yes.
I mean, they could say, "Oh, well, it's just fun talking to myself," but I don't think that's really
right.
What they think they're doing.
Yeah.
But so there's some kind of identification going on.
Yes, absolutely. It's not.
I had a friend who was a writer, and a writer friend, and several years ago, we had this ongoing dialogue, and he was really sticking to that position.
Oh.
And it was kind of interesting. So I put the whole dialogue in my blog.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to read that, I don't know. It goes on for quite a while. It's kind of boring unless you're philosophically inclined, but it's there on the blog. It's called Dialogue with a Mad Solipsist.
I see.
It's kind of fun. Anyway, that's what I had to offer.
Okay, thank you, Eric. Yes. So there is the solipsist and there is the mad solipsist. Oh my goodness.
I don't know if there's much difference there.
Yeah. Right, it's like additional power, 10 to the 20th power or something like that. Thank you, Eric. It's not possible to be really free and happy as long as there is some model. Of course, we speak of consciousness and of reality, and in a way it may seem as a model, but it's referring to something that is not a model. It's referring to let's say, the experience of Satchitananda, of being, awareness, Ananda, bliss. That is not a model. It's not a model. Of course, all language is limited in that it relies on some imagery, but the finger pointing to the moon is not the moon. So the whole what we call the spiritual journey, or whatever, a spiritual quest or a spiritual passion, is about peace and happiness. It's about peace and happiness that doesn't come and go, doesn't depend on where you are, where you live, what you're doing, etc. You know. Any questions?
You know, Maggie, that speaking of happiness, peace and happiness that don't change or go away or that are permanent, I was trying to write about that this morning, and it's very difficult to describe or talk about a basis. I was trying to write in the context of talking to someone in our culture who may not be familiar with the concept, and how do you talk about happiness that's, I was tempted to say objective happiness, because in the sense that it's not personal, but that word suggests the kind of happiness that most people are looking for, which is from objects.
Mm.
How do you even talk about permanent happiness?
How do you speak about happiness that is not free of object? The happiness that does not depend on object. Yes.
Yes. It seems like a very foreign concept.
Yes, actually, Eric, it is not. It is not in so foreign. If you look at it like in the perspective of that we are happy. We are happy when we get what we want, whatever it is. Let's say relationship, promotion, whatever it is, and we get what we want. At that moment, we are happy. But before we get it, we're not happy, and after we get it and we're not happy, it becomes stale. But at the moment that we get it, we're happy, right? I mean, that's most of our experience. One way of looking at it, which I find maybe helpful, is to look at the desire and the end of desire. That at the moment of happiness, we are experiencing desirelessness. And desirelessness is a freedom from object. So we are seeking happiness in an object. Boom, boom, boom. We work hard. We try this, we try that. And then at some moment, bingo, we get that promotion, or we get, that experience we wanted to get, or that object we're looking for. At that moment, we are desireless and we are happy.
I'm familiar with that.
Huh?
I'm familiar with that.
Yes. I find it to be a helpful model, to sort of invite people to look at happiness from a different perspective, from the perspective of desirelessness. And
the typical response is, well, that's how it is. You just, you reach a goal and then you set a new goal.
Yes.
You just keep,
right. So that's just one point. There is more to it. It's like when you are seeking happiness in an object, you are in the seeking mode. And when you are in the seeking mode, you are hoping, well, sometimes regretting. So you are in this whole realm of you are not happy. So
you're waiting for it to come.
Yes. So you are waiting. You're right. You're right. And so you are engaged. One way of looking at it is you are engaged in unhappiness in order to get happiness. And there is a contradiction in that. In a way, logically, it's like, how could unhappy activities or unhappiness take you to happiness? It's not completely logical.
Yeah. And it's not completely conscious. I mean, I remember catching myself in that sort of expectation. What am I doing? What's wrong with now?
Right. Exactly. It hits you sometimes like, wait a minute, why am I whipping myself to be happy? And the other thing is about the happiness in object is that it's a delay. It's like, okay, like as you just said, what's wrong with now? I'm hoping, okay, when and if, okay, I will be happy meaning in the future. But when you think about it, you're never in the future. The future arises as a thought for you in everybody's experience.
Exactly.
Future is never an actual experience. So because happiness is something that is in an object, meaning it's in the future, and the fact that future, you never experience your future. In fact, the experience of happiness that you're experiencing in the future is not real, because the future is not real. Whichever way we word it, I mean, but that's the gist of it. So I find that there is a postponement. There is a postponement aspect to the celebration of happiness, of happiness in thought. Thought, the way it maintains the separate self, meaning the me in seeking, me in time and space. In time, meaning concerned with the fear about the future, and in space, meaning limited. The way this impression is maintained in our experience is via thought. The thought that says, if you go about it the right way, you will get it. If you develop the right strategy or you do the right meditations, whatever, you will get it.
There's it's institutionalized in the culture. I remember
Absolutely.
My sister saying once, using the term delayed gratification.
Absolutely. It is,
we work for something, and then we'll work for something, and then we'll be happy.
Yes.
And the future is real.
Yeah. Like it's become in our culture like the contact lens. It's so ingrained, the model of time and space that exists in time and space, and I'm striving towards something, is a model that has it's inhabiting.
Like it has to have a cost.
I'm sorry?
It has to have a cost.
Oh, a cost.
Like we're supposed to pay for our happiness.
Yes, and the cost
is free.
Yeah, the cost of it is our misery. I mean,
that's the actual cost. But I mean, the idea that in order to have happiness.
Oh, yes, right. You have to pay the price, and then you get the goodies. Is that what you meant? Yes.
Yes. Exactly.
Yes.
Which, as you say, continues into the spiritual.
Of course. But at least in the spirit, when you are starting to contemplate, hopefully you're contemplating what am I truly, what is the reality of my experience, these questions, of course, you're starting with seeking, you're seeking something. These questions, they are directed in the right direction. They're not looking at objects out there, they're looking at the experience, the ultimate experience, which is self-knowingness. And as you initially objectify this experience, but via your contemplation over time, you realize that it's not an objective thing. There isn't an object, a separate object and a subject. It takes time to come to that the sort of the thinning out of the subject-object relationship. But eventually, this is where you will find the contemplation leading you.
One of the I guess milestones or stepping stones along my journey was, well, first of all, yes, I think you have to begin to see that it's such a rat race to keep pursuing this ephemeral happiness, and then someone at some point, either through suffering or just realizing, what am I doing? Why am I seeking something out there? And you start that search. That's one of the stepping stones.
Eric, sorry to interrupt you, Eric. I'm having some echo. Is it only me? I'm not sure. I'm hearing you faintly. There is some echo. Is anybody else experiencing that, or is just me? I'm wondering, Eric, maybe you can speak a little louder. Let's try that.
Try it. It's because it's using the headphone.
Oh, okay. It's also a little bit my hearing, but it's okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Can you repeat? Can you repeat that?
Yeah. So I was saying one of the milestones is as you said, it's realizing that objective happiness is not coming, or that it's just a constant rat race.
Right.
And then the next step may be often realizing, okay, it's an internal thing, but then it becomes, how do I get the right state of mind? And that was, if someone is, like in my journey, is studying psychology or spiritual psychology, a lot of that is about state of mind. And that was one of the important insights that Francis shared with me, is that it's not about the state.
Right.
States also change.
Yes.
So even when you start looking inside, you can make the mistake of seeking a state and try to hold on to a state.
That's a good point. Very, very good point, Eric. Yes. Because a state of mind still has a subject and an object. There is still a separation in the state of mind. It's still the objective quality. Of course, it's not a physical objective quality. It's sort of a mind physical quality, but it's still a physical. There's still a physical quality to a state of mind, and states of mind arise they have a limitation to them. They have a certain physical attributes to them. They have a beginning and an ending. There are more stable and less stable states of mind, or states of mind that are more happy, less happy. What's lovely about the consciousness is that it's already what is. It's not something that is the result of anything. States of mind are still the result of some experience. Strong, like cities, are also states of mind. Powerful meditations can create states of mind. Of course, hallucinogenics and there are various means for that result in states of mind. But the reality of our experience, the reality of awareness, is transparent. It's not. It cannot be the result of anything. It is that you can say that in which and out of which a state of mind arises, like a wave or a storm of the ocean, in the ocean, just using a very simple model, arises out of the ocean, and but the waves don't define the ocean. So a state of mind doesn't define, doesn't deliver, doesn't express what you are, doesn't express consciousness. Of course, it is an expression of consciousness, but it doesn't express consciousness. Like
I find so powerful about self-inquiry is that you're always asking, in what does this appear?
Yes. Yes.
It slowly chips away at those identifications.
Yes.
Even though you don't get an answer, some objective answer, it kind of wakes you up. Okay, there's another state of mind, another experience, but it's appearing in something.
Yes, when you ask the question, to what does this appear? And you are not interested in getting an answer from the past. When you ask the question, what is it that perceives, but you're not interested in getting a question from the archives, then you come to the silence, you come to the stillness, you come to that which cannot be expressed in words and does not need to be expressed in words.
Yeah, or just I don't know, or it just brings you right square back into the exact present.
Yes, one could say it is a not knowing, but it also is full of the being, I would say, being awareness. It's
Not needing to know. It's kind of a different kind of knowing.
yes, it's not a not knowing that is sort of empty. It's a not knowing that is vibrant, that is alive, that is resonating within itself. That takes you deeper and deeper into presence. It's beyond the words, but takes you deeper and deeper into the source, into the eye that's transparent, the complete transparency of awareness.
Yes.
And it's the peace of being. So the question, what is it that truly perceives, or what is it, to what does this appear? It's very, very important to be watchful, not to, because there's a tendency in the mind tendency to go to the past, to go to the archives and pull, to try to take us into thinking. But thinking about what am I and the contemplation of what am I are two different things. But I don't want to sort of make it like a judgment against thought, but just to notice that that's not the right direction. That's not the direction that truly reveals the I am. Instead, it goes into narrative about the I am. And the narrative is not what the word is not the thing, you know. Any question, anyone?
Hi, this is George.
Hello, George.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you very well.
What I want to ask, just to follow up what you said, the way that I inquire, and I just want to get some feedback about this. I understand that thinking is not the answer. So what I will do is, first of all, be silent. And second, try to sense the presence of awareness. Almost like asking awareness to reveal itself to me. Is that a useful, I hate to use the word technique, but is that a useful technique?
George, when you are asking for awareness to reveal itself to you, what is it that is asking that?
That's an excellent question. What is asking that? I hadn't thought about it, but the only possible answer, what is asking that, is that awareness is asking that. I mean, it seems that I'm asking that, okay, but I know that that's a wrong direction.
Okay, so let's say that, okay, then it's awareness that is asking, awareness to reveal itself, yes?
Yes.
But awareness is already itself. So for awareness to ask awareness to reveal itself is like asking a ray of the sun to reveal the light, or a sunshine to reveal the heat. You follow what I'm sharing with you?
Yes, but with regard, consider the same analogy with regard to the sunshine revealing itself. The sunshine is there, and there may be clouds in the way. Clouds, which may be obscuring the sunshine. So asking the sunshine to reveal itself is like,
okay,
I'm not sure.
Okay, so in your model, then there is awareness plus clouds,
Right.
that are asking awareness to reveal itself.
Yeah, in other words, what I really am seeking is for the clouds to get out of the way, okay?
Yeah, but the question is, what is it that is asking for the clouds to get out of the way?
Yes, I understand. Yes, I understand. It seems that I'm doing the asking. I fully understand what you're saying. And yet, so if this is not, I fully understand now the error in my way here. So let me ask this, and how do I do this? What do I do?
Well, when you say, what do I do? The question is, when you say I, what are you referring to in your question?
Well, there is a sense of there is a sense of an I here.
Okay.
Now, what I do is, this I set a timer on my clock to go off at random intervals.
Uh-huh.
So there's a body and a mind that sets the clock.
Uh-huh.
And then the clock goes off. Okay? And it seems at that moment that there's this same body mind that says, okay, the clock has gone off. Now I need to do this. So I see your question, and I don't know the way out of it.
Okay, so just going to the sense of I. Let's consider the sense of I right now.
Yes.
To what does this sense of I appear? Obviously, you're speaking about it, so there is an experience of the sense of I.
Yes.
What is it that is experiencing this sense of I? Something must be experiencing. What is it? To what does this sense of I appear?
Well, my first answer is it appears to me, but a better answer would be that sense appears in awareness. That sense appears almost the same way that an experience would appear, or almost the same way that a thought would appear.
Right, so it appears, a thought or a sense of me appears in awareness.
Right.
And can we say it appears to I awareness.
Right, yes.
Okay, so we can say the sense of me arises to I awareness. Yes, right?
Right, yes.
So in other words, I awareness is perceiving a perception which we are referring to it as a sense of me.
Yes, that's accurate, yes.
And could we also say that it's that same I awareness that perceives that it's, for example, 4 o'clock today, that it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon right now?
Yes, that awareness perceives all my perceptions.
Right, that very sense of I awareness perceives the flowers in the garden, if you're looking out in the garden, to the garden.
Right, yes.
And so what are we trying to fix? What are we trying to fix?
We're trying to fix that I still think that this awareness is a personal awareness. In other words, it's like I am aware. That is, I have the quality of being aware.
Okay. So in order for the awareness to appear as personal, could we say that there must be either a thought that arises that says this awareness is personal, or a feeling that says, oh wow, this awareness feels personal, or both a thought and a feeling that arise that say this I/awareness is personal. Would you agree with me that the way we would state that this awareness is personal is as a result of a thought appearing that says it's personal, or a sensation appearing that says it's personal? In other words,
Yes.
in the absence of a thought and saying that this awareness is personal, and or in the absence of a sensation or a feeling that this awareness is personal, we would not be saying or feeling that this awareness is personal. Would you agree with me?
Yes, I agree. Yes.
Okay. So therefore, we may be getting to understand that the way we state, we feel, and we perceive that awareness is personal is upon perceiving a thought or a feeling that says that it's personal.
Yes.
Okay, then the question is two questions. First, when I perceive a thought that says awareness is personal, it doesn't necessarily mean that awareness is personal.
Yes, I see where you're going. Yes.
The perception is an arising that arises, and the next perception is, I would love to have some chocolate ice cream.
Yes, I got it. Yes. It's just another thought. Okay.
Yes. Secondly, a thought or a feeling is something that you, meaning I, awareness, know. It does not know me. You follow that?
No, please say that again.
Okay. anything that I perceive is known by me, but it does not know me. Like I perceive an
Yes.
oak tree.
Yes, I understand now.
Okay, I can perceive a thought that says blah, 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 blah. I can perceive a feeling that says blah, 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 blah. I know the thought, I know the feeling, but the thought or the feeling do not know me. They are objects of perception. They are not knowing. The knowingness belongs to awareness.
Yes, I understand now. Thank you. Yes.
If you get that, then it makes sense that to understand that the thought does not know me, and therefore anything that the thought says, if it says do re mi fa sol la si, or it says boom 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 boom, or it says you're stupid, the thought does not know me.
Right. And I think what you're leading to is the thought is just a thought and there's no reason I need to believe it or
Right. No object of perception can define that which perceives. The reality of awareness cannot be defined by the images that arise upon the screen of awareness, and that they don't just arise on the screen of awareness, they actually arise out of awareness itself, because they're not apart from awareness. You follow that?
Yes. Yes.
Like your night dreams, when you are, let's take the metaphor of the night dreams, when you are dreaming at night, and there is the dreamer's mind with all sorts of events. These events are not apart from the dreamer. They arise out of the dreamer, and they express all sorts of images and thoughts and sensations, etc. Now, if you dream, or when you dream yourself, to be a character in the dream, you are traveling with friends to Istanbul, yes, and you're experiencing all sorts of experiences on the boat with your friends, and there is a personal experience you're having on that boat. You're feeling that you're loved. You're feeling that you're having a good time. You're very popular. You're being treated very generously by your friends, and you seem to be defined by your experience on that boat. I mean, in this case, it's a happy experience because you are with friends. But in fact, you, the dreamer of that dream, is not defined by the happiness that you are having on this boat, because you are also dreaming the whole thing, everything. You may be even dreaming a little child on the boat who is unhappy because his mom is feeling a little sick. The point being that whatever you are experiencing as a personal self, you're experiencing it as the model. There is a model that I am a character in the dream. I am this particular person on the boat. And from the perspective of the person, the identified character. You are defined by the experiences you're having. If you're having nice experiences, you're happy. If somebody is mistreating you, you're unhappy. But from the perspective of awareness, of consciousness, which is dreaming all this dream, which is the perceiver in chief, the perceiver in chief is not defined by any of its perception. You are not defined by the storm that you are perceiving or by the beautiful sunset that you are perceiving. You remain as awareness. That's the transparency of awareness. You follow?
Yes. Yes, I follow. Yes.
But whenever awareness turns away from its seat as the reality of experience and objectifies itself, sort of precipitates itself as a form, as a body-mind, a particular body-mind, then it's perceiving through the particular mind, and it's experiencing itself as a limited form. Limited meaning existing in time, and therefore there is a concern about death, about the future, and limited in space, meaning there is a concern about its freedom, and therefore it's seeking its freedom. It's seeking to be free from that sense of limitation. But from the point of view of consciousness, that is not identified as a body-mind. The experience of awareness consciousness is that of timelessness or eternity and infinity, and borderless presence. So we have a tendency to assume the model of a personal, objective consciousness. That model is an appearance, is a mind content, it's a precipitation of awareness into a mind with its perceptions, its particular perceptions. Did I lose you, George?
No, I'm still here. You haven't lost me at all. Thank you. I'm completely with you.
Okay. So I would say in your contemplation, before you make any movement, or as you make any movement, contemplate what is it that is moving. And what is it that is perceiving the movement? Because that which perceives is not moving.
Right.
And we don't have to judge. I'm not talking about judging. I'm not talking about right or wrong, okay? I'm just talking about a contemplation, a certain way to conduct the contemplation, to bring it closer to the source, but without any judgment.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm asking. Yes. How to do that. And I think you're giving me, okay, please say, this is great. Please say some more. Or let me maybe feedback what I'm hearing you say.
Okay.
It's that in my contemplation, I'm taking the point of view of the body-mind. When I say, you know, I'm waiting for this thing to be revealed to me, you know, I'm already taking that point of view.
Yes.
And what I need to do is to, first of all, be aware that I'm taking that point of view and see it only as a point of view. That is,
Yes.
it's just a point of view.
Yes. And that which is seeing is not a point of view. That
Thought, or it's just a feeling.
Yeah, that which is seeing is neither a thought, neither a feeling. It is the transparency of awareness. Everything that you experience as this transparency. It's not possible to experience anything outside of awareness.
Yes, of course.
Even the thought and the feeling that, oh, awareness is my awareness and not your awareness, even that is not possible to experience it outside of awareness. Even the thought that my awareness is better, I'm getting more aware than I was 10 years ago.
Right. I've had that thought, yes. I understand.
We all know that one.
Right, yes.
Even that thought and that feeling, you see, feeling is not possible to arise outside of awareness. It is awareness taking on this form. But although awareness takes on all forms, it remains formless. You see, like H2O takes on the form of ocean, waves, ice, steam, blah, blah. It remains H2O. And contemplate that awareness does not exist in time. Time arises in awareness as thought and as sensation. You know, we are aware of time. There is awareness, like the awareness taking on the form of thought about yesterday and tomorrow. So it's an arising. Time is an arising within awareness, yes?
Yes, yes.
So contemplate that awareness does not arise in time. Time arises in awareness. Awareness is eternal. The eternity of awareness is not in time.
I hear that, and I've read that, and I can believe that.
No.
But I can't. I know not to believe it, but I'm saying I can't. I can't really grok that. I can't.
Well, contemplate, George, that right now, outside of a thought or a feeling about later or before, there isn't a later or a before, yes?
Yes, there's only now. No later, no before, only now. Only now exists.
Not now as squeezed in, past and future squeezed in, now as eternity, now as no time, as beyond time, as the whole model of time is not existing.
Now I see what you're saying. Yes, the whole model of time is not existent. Yes, okay. It's hard for me to get that, but yes, I see it now. Yes. Yes. The whole model of time is not existent. It's just a function. Okay. It's just a function of mind.
Thought, yes.
Thought, yes. There's no evidence for anything we would call time.
Right. Thought of before arises. The next thought is, gee, it would be nice to, go have a beer downtown at the local pub tonight. That's the freedom of consciousness, you see. It's very creative.
Right.
But in its creation, it remains eternal and infinite.
Yes. What's funny is when you say that, it remains eternal and infinite. What I try to do, or my mind tries to do, is make some kind of model. What is eternal and infinite? You know what I mean? I'm still trying to squeeze this into an existing model.
Right. So
try to squeeze your words into an existing model. I'm just noticing I'm doing that.
I got you. Consider that any model, no matter the best possible model you can ever, the most correct, the most exact model possible, arises, it requires awareness. It arises in awareness, right? As awareness, right?
Yes, absolutely, yes.
So the model arises in that which is not a model.
Yes, yes, I get it, yes.
And we are talking about awareness. We're talking about that which is beyond models.
Yes.
The mind cannot, there is no room for the mind there. The mind is trying to weave something, right?
Right, that's what the mind is doing, yes, right.
But there's no thread, nothing to weave. It's not a realm of weaving. There's no, how do you say? There's no room for weaving in that, what we are talking about. There is no thread to weave.
Right. This is almost funny, but yes, I get it. Yes. Yes. I'm trying. Yes.
And simultaneously, we could say that, in fact, consciousness is weaving everything. It's actually weaving this conversation right now. Because what is this conversation right now, George?
It's just an arising in consciousness.
Outside of consciousness. What is this conversation outside of consciousness?
Yes, it's just
so one could say that consciousness is eternally weaving. The eternal weaver.
The eternal weaver, yes.
But one caveat. It does not need to weave. It weaves out of its freedom.
That's
because a need would require there must be something at stake, or there must be some purpose. There must be something outside of consciousnness that is needed. I need to weave in order to.
Yes, I understand that now. Yes.
We're talking about consciousness and another reality besides consciousness. That
yes.
Consciousness has to do its best, be the best weaver in order to become a better consciousness, or a higher consciousness, or an evolved consciousness, or blah, blah, blah.
Yes, I got it. Yes, yes.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Amazing. Thank you.
Yes.
truly amazing. Yes.
Yes, yes. Hello, Maria. Maria, nice to see you here. You said, I am loving these conversations. Thank you, George and Magdi, for this amazing exchange. Yes. Well, very lovely to be with you all. Oh, Rashmi, hello, Rashmi and John. Thank you all, very lovely to be with you. And we're having a retreat this coming weekend, so we will see you next week. Okay, I will send an invitation.
Thank you, Magdi.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Magdi,
Okay.
George.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Okay.
Bye.